Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. You know, as a journalist and storyteller, it fascinates me how humans bond differently all over the world, but with a few stark similarities. And since the beginning of time, humans have been bonding over brews. Whether it's the story of how beer saved the world, or how families made wine at home, and now their descendants are mass producing them and shipping them all around the planet, libations are an integral part of human culture. And on this show, I want to use drinks as the avenue to showcase those cultures. So, without further ado, thanks for your time, and here's a short starting point of The Bold and the Boozy. Cheers. So that's the Miami that people envision in that montage, right? And in many ways, that is Miami, but the truth of the matter is there's so much more to the city and its neighborhoods than that. So for instance, right now we're here in Little Havana, and I'm at Old's Havana Cuban Bar and Cocina. And one of the things that I love about this neighborhood, Little Havana, is that it's really authentically Cuban. Like when you get here, you smell the Cuban food right out, right out. There's Cuban music coming from everywhere. You just have that vibe. You'll even see some people dancing on the street. This spot is a vibe in and of itself. I mean, this place is just very cool and very, very Cuban. And now when it comes to Cuban cocktails, there is nothing more Cuban than that. The mojito. Look at how beautiful that is. All right, so for those of you who don't know, in a mojito, you've got sugar, you've got mint, you've got lime juice, soda water, and arguably the most important ingredient, white rum. You mix all of those together and you get this absolute bundle of happiness, rainbows, and anything else that you're thinking of. So I'm excited to try this and let y'all know what I think. That's good. That's real good. So you get a little bit of the mint, you get a good bit of the rum, but not too much because it's leveled off with the lime, and then the sugar is there to kind of balance it all out and make it not too bitter. This thing on a hot day is like the perfect beverage. I am quite happy that I'm here, and this is where we're starting the episode. All right, so now we're in another area of Miami. This is the Wynwood neighborhood. So this place is known for this incredible art behind me, but it's also the capital of beer here in Miami. That whole scene kind of started here, and we're going to Ground Zero, the first place, Wynwood Brewing. This is the first brewery in the region and also has some of my favorite beers. We're meeting up with an old friend of mine, excited to introduce you to him. His name is Enrique, and I think his title with Wynwood Brewing is like Minister of Beer, something like that.
Good to see you. So good to see you.
You too, you too.
How's everything?
Good. It's gonna be better in a minute. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Pop's Porter.
Okay.
It's our most awarded beer, but we'll get there in a moment. Right now, I have a little bit of a surprise for you.
Okay.
If you are thirsty,
Yes.
because we're about to do some responsible drinking. And
Sounds very bold and boozy.
I like it.
See what I did there?
But this is actually Caribbean Sour. So Caribbean Sour, you get some of the sediments and some of that body.
Unless you're a very avid craft beer drinker, to be trying a sour is something really different. That's wild. So it is definitely, I mean, sour should be in the name. And that was the first time that I've ever had one. Definitely the first time I've ever had one on camera. It's a totally different flavor profile. It's almost like, I don't know, I'm kind of struggling with a way to describe this, but it almost has almost like vinegary tones, even in a bad, like I'm not saying it in a bad way, but just like along those lines, right? Like we've all had hot sauces sometimes that are like really vinegar heavy or any of those things where you get that kind of, the feeling like on the back of your tongue. This is interesting. Okay. And I honestly at first was a little thrown off by it because I was thinking, I mean, this is incorrect, right? I'm thinking like sour, and then I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be bitter, which are obviously two totally different things. It was good, but it was one of those like first sip, I'm like, I don't know about this. Second sip, I'm like, I don't know about this less. Third sip, I'm like, okay. And then by the fourth sip, I'm like, yeah, I'm all in on this. This is a really cool, what is it? Sorry, I can't say texture, mouthfeel. I also feel like this is a lot less effervescent, a lot less gas in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the carbonation could be different depending.
Thank you, that is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, that's
Gassiness, effervescence.
Yeah. All the gases.
I'm like Pumbaa in The Lion King. Oh, everything is gas. Really cool flavor profiles. I liked it. It's definitely different. But I think that's what I enjoyed about it. All right, so this one, Coquito. I know Coquito in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Right? It's Christmas time. It is the holidays. They make Coquito, the white drink, all the time. So what is this?
It's an adaptation.
And it's really nice that it comes out right around the holidays. If you live in the Miami area or anywhere with a large, like, Puerto Rican population, Coquito kind of just comes out of the woodwork.
Our founders, being Puerto Rican, wanted to adapt it. Like, out of all the beers that we have, how can we mimic the experience without losing the identity? It is a beer.
Okay.
It's gonna be a beer.
Well, I mean, obviously, first thing is the color is completely different. Look at how pretty that is. Coquito's obviously, like, the drink is a lot sweeter. So it's cool to see that they make this kind of homage, right, to Coquito, but they make it in a beer.
So it's an imperial milk stout.
Okay.
To kind of get you that body, to kind of that booziness. Some of the traditional ingredients of Coquito. Toasted coconut, vanilla.
Say, you smell a lot of coconut.
Yes.
A lot of vanilla.
Cardamom, vanilla, and we rum age it. So you get the Coquito traditionally made with rum.
Rum aged, like, in a barrel?
Yes.
Okay.
So you get the rum, the notes of it. It doesn't have, it's got no rum in it.
No, but it's aged in the barrels.
Yeah.
There we go.
Go.
Pinky up.
Cheerio.
Coquito's good. That is a good beer. That is excellent.
It clocks out, I think it's 9%. So, I mean, it's high for a beer, but we're not talking about, it's not the craziest thing ABV we've done by any means.
And something that still has all of those notes and all of those beautiful flavor elements, but is also beer and is something totally different and just very special in its own right. Really creative, really cool, something I enjoyed a lot. May or may not have had multiple bottles of that at my house. So now we're on a completely different side of the county. We're in Kendall, we're in the burbs. A lot of people back in the day used to think that this wasn't a place you could get good food or drinks. And there were a couple chefs who thought differently and kind of started this movement. One of them, I'm proud to say, is a really good friend of mine, Chef Adrian. We're here at her flagship restaurant. And I gotta tell you, some of the stuff that they're doing here cocktail-wise is just incredible. I cannot wait for you guys to see what they're doing here. Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you forever.
How's it going?
Good. Thank you for taking time out of your busy
my
schedule to
gosh.
come drink with me.
Oh, like that's hard.
So what are we having? What are we gonna do?
Truffled old fashioned.
An old fashioned, for those of you who might not know, is basically bourbon, a little bit of water, some bitters, and some sugar, and it just makes a pretty excellent cocktail. So we've got truffle on top of this. Oh my goodness, look at this. Okay, so it's super earthy, like you smell this a lot on the top.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, there were a lot of people around, so I didn't do it, but I definitely in the future would probably have eaten the truffle off of the ice cube. All right, we're gonna try this.
Yes.
Do I pinky up on this?
Pinky up.
Pinky up.
It's an
pinky up.
elevated old fashioned.
All right. So that's really interesting. So it's like really earthy right out the top. You smell a lot of it, you get a bunch of that, but then after it just kind of levels off into a really nice,
Yes.
it's not overpowering. It's like a really good
No,
balance.
similar to how you would wine pairing. We wanted to elevate the dining experience, not just, hey, let's get smashed at the bar, you know. Cocktails that pair really well.
Sorry.
So what's wrong with getting smashed at noon?
There's nothing, but I was trying to be responsible. You know, be bold, be boozy, be responsible, I guess.
You know, you're spending money on a really fine steak or a slowly braised meat. You want a cocktail that's going to elevate that experience. And this truffle old fashioned does that. It opens up, you know, the bouquet. It opens up your palate, right? But you don't just want to be drinking truffle, right?
I'm not gonna lie, when you said it first, I'm like, okay, this could be a
Right?
lot. Cause like an example that I'll use is like, I've had a truffle potato leek soup.
Okay.
And it's just like, cool, so I'm eating the ground. This tastes like dirt. This is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
No.
This is really nice. Where did this idea come from? Like how?
Well, my corporate executive chef, Egg, who's also the head of mixology at the restaurants, in our 20s, we were super into bourbon, and we'd love to, like, after a shift at the restaurant, we'd love to go have some old fashions and a burger, right? Like a lot of people in our industry do. But they are heavy on like that oakiness, right? And that burn. How can we settle that for those that don't really have hair on their chest, you know?
So like which bourbon is in this?
Specifically, this one is Angel's Envy.
Okay.
And I will say that a gentleman who was the envy of Kentucky wanted to create.
Okay.
She had told you something off camera about that story. What did she tell you?
Oh, well, what she told me off camera needs to stay off camera.
He wanted to create a truffle bourbon. It takes about 8 days for that truffle to really meld into the bourbon. And we do choose Angel's Envy because it is aged in pork barrels, so it is a little more subtle than other bourbon.
Works really,
Is this
really
something
well.
you would drink?
100%.
Like,
This is something I'm going to drink. Like, I'm going to do that now for science, for research. I'm doing this for you guys.
research.
So number one, that truffle old fashioned is 100% Bold and Boozy approved. That drink was awesome. It was really interesting. Just, you get so much smell on the front, right? Like as soon as you're trying it, you really get a lot of that truffle essence. But then as soon as you get into the cocktail, it's just kind of a really solid, really good old fashioned.
So I can't wait for you to taste this next cocktail. So I'm not going to tell you what it is because I actually want you to see it first.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you what it
All
is.
I know is that it has tequila.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to selfishly see your reaction.
Okay.
Yes.
So
you
this
see
is
how you
not at
smile?
all what I was expecting.
I love how you smiled, like when you see it. So I think one of the beautiful things about a craft cocktail is that it's visual. You're not just taking a shot. Again, you're not just having a rum and coke or something like that. It's garnished.
Well, and I think you always used to tell me, you're like, your eyes eat first.
Your eyes eat first. This is a sweet corn margarita.
So we've got some tahini on the side, right? Mm-hmm. What is this? So roasted, like corn, like cobbed corn. Okay, so right off the top, you smell a good bit of the tequila. That smells nice. You're smelling a bit of the corn. And it's amazing to see how corn just kind of changes with really minimal things, whether it's like butter, tahini, roasting. It's a really interesting flavor profile. Oh, I really like this, like a lot.
The sweetness from the corn takes off the edge from the tequila, you know, the aging of the tequila.
Funny too, right? Because most margaritas, you've either got like simple or you've got like agave.
When I host wine tastings or like chef's tables and whatnot, we talk about flavor pairings. So you can only experience really great flavors in two ways: complementary or contrasting. Those send messages to your brain and create an everlasting, craveable memory. This cocktail is complementary. You have that sweetness from the corn, and when you were talking about the agave or the simple, that sweetness from the corn plays the role of the agave. So the lime, just how in an elote dish or a corn salsa, the lime that you would have in a margarita elevates the corn flavor, and then the tequila just comes in at the end as that's it.
Like
So
the spirit, but it's very subtle, not super spirit forward.
No.
So let me ask you this: you're gonna order this prior to dinner because I know you're very much a cocktail and then wine person.
Yes.
What are you trying to? What is this leading into?
So I want something really bright and acidic, so I'm going to order the ceviche with this. For example, like something has to be really big, acid forward, and it's going to really bring out then the sweetness of this corn.
The sweet corn margarita. I'm gonna be really honest with you. That's like top 5% of drinks I've ever had in my life. That was super interesting, very creative, really, really good. That one I liked a lot. 100% the sweet corn margarita is Bold and Boozy approved. That is like my 5 favorite cocktails I've had in the city of Miami. Awesome, really, really good. And then after having Chef tell me that she would have it with a ceviche, I'm gonna be going back to try to do the same thing because she's brilliant at those pairings, and I'm wanting to test it for research purposes, of course.